Hi everybody, thanks for joining me. I am Lynn with Plasma Energy Solution, and this is March 13th, okay, 2020. Well, there's lots in the news, and there's probably lots going on locally now for you as far as the virus that originated in China several months ago, and I believe it's CVD-19 or COVID-19 now. It has a different acronym for a name. For this, I'll just call it the Dreadmahocus, okay? Now, what's the impact going to be? Let me give you a local impact. We live close to a senior center, a community center, and they offer really great meals several days a week. We go over there. And probably next week they are going to shut down for a while. And fortunately for those that are housebound with injuries or whatever conditions, they'll continue to do a type of a Meals on Wheels for them. But for everybody else, they're going to say, it's just time for you to take a little time at home and do a little self-quarantining. Now, there was something I saw recently on statistics, and it was really interesting because they said there's an exponential factor here about the Dreadmahocus, okay? And so let's talk about exponential, because when you do things exponentially, it's much different than just adding things up, okay? So the question was asked on one video that I watched was, how long would it take if there were several drops of water to start with to completely fill up Yankee Stadium with water to the top tier if you're talking exponential? And let's say you start at 12 o'clock noon. Well, it didn't even take till 1 o'clock. Now think about that. Start with several drops of water, and by 1 o'clock, you've filled the stadium up to the brim. So that's exponential, and that's what was not being covered very seriously in a lot of the media or outlets that were discovering it's just the flu. So that's a good reason for the shutdown of a lot of things right now that we're accustomed to having going on. So what I want to address today, first of all, would be supply chain. If this were to go on for a long time, supply chain will break down. Now, those of you who have ordered Plasma Energy from me in the past know that you can get the 16 vials for the Plasma Energy Station in the spring and summer months, in the warm months when we're not having our winter cold weather and freezing temperatures. And then in the winter time, you receive, instead of 16 vials, you get 4 vials that are this size, that are plastic and do not break and freeze when they're shipped. And in the winter time, when I send other things to you other than the Plasma Energy Station, you're receiving it in vials this size, okay? Now, one of the things I want to mention is I became concerned some weeks back about supply chain and how many things do I order that come from overseas. How many things might end up in short supply. And that's not to say everything comes from overseas, but there might be something like, well, maybe the jars come from another country and the caps come from a country that isn't doing manufacturing right now. So think of those terms in terms of the long-term picture about what we're going to be dealing with. So, and as I thought about it, I thought, well, you know, the bubble mailers, the bubble wrap, my plastic tape that I use copious amounts of, my plastic bags that I use for making the pads that are sent overseas, well, where did these come from? So I want you to be thinking about what you have on hand and what you want to share with others. And when you're making pads for other people, all you need to do, if this is your Eneergy that you want to make a pad of, you're going to take some of the water of this and use it to soak the pad. Now this has GANs in the bottom. It has a vial filled with GANs along with some of the other GANs, as you can see, with the powdery substance. And you can put some of this in, you know, however it's easiest for you to get your paper towel pads soaked. Now what I do, I like to do 5 or 6 sets at a time. Always, always, always put a label on your hangers so you know what you've got, because if you do several things and you haven't labeled it, and at the end all you have are a bunch of blank paper towels, you have no idea what was on them. So you want to always label them. They always go in a plastic bag, and as you can see, I have a label on the plastic bag so I know what they are. Now in my case, what I like to use are this size of paper towel where it's perforated and you can use half. And so here we go. This is going to be one set. Okay, so here are 2 pieces off one full piece of paper towel. And then I fold them over. Once they're folded over, I cut them so that, I'm showing you some I've already cut. Now I took, here's one intact side, and here's a side that I cut. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of the cut pieces and I'm going to put it inside this one. Now that gives me my 3-to-1 ratio that I always talk about with the pads. And the main reason for doing 3-to-1 ratio is if they ended up being used on someone, they can be put on a bottle this way. But when we put 16 vials around a container, or 4 vials, obviously we're not doing the same ratios that we're talking about with the patches. And don't worry about that, because the Eneergys are all interfacing and interacting as they need to. So now you've got the 3 parts, and I put them in a plastic baggie. And on these baggies, what I do, got a little bit of a far reach here, is I take something that has a zipper, because these are kind of heavy bags. They're freezer bags, and I like this weight. I just cut the zipper off, and then the bags are ready to go. So now I'm going to put these in each side of the plastic bag, okay? And I have some tape that's interfering with me because I had something in process and decided to show it to you. Okay, so then I'm going to fold it down and just tape it in place so it's easier for me to work with, okay? And I'm not dealing with an edge that keeps springing back. Now, what I'm going to do here, you want to label these, because if you have a bunch of these and you don't label them, once again, you haven't got any idea what's in your pair of pads. And can you write directly on the pads? You bet. You could do that. That would be fine. And then once I have a label on them, and they're kind of taped shut, I just shake them to get them all the way over to the edge. And then what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to take a pair of scissors and I'm going to cut this, okay? And now I'm going to fold it over, and then we're going to do some real copious taping here, okay? And some of you may think it's a little overkill. If this is for your use at home, you probably don't need to worry about as far as I go with it. But since I'm sending these elsewhere and they're for others to use, I want them to be really sturdy, okay? And now this is just my little deal, because I have these logos that I can put on here, and our Plasma Energy Solution logo. All right, and obviously you don't need this step, but as long as I'm going to be using copious amounts of tape, I might as well be doing it right, okay? And so, like I said, copious amount of tape, and I'm going to come over here and put one along the front side that loops around to the back. And you know, I taped over that edge on the back, and actually that's a good place to start, is to take that lightly taped over edge and go ahead and tape it down securely. And I have one tape over on the front. I'm going to do another tape over on the front, okay? And then I'm going to do one, and I'm just coming down the front with this, because this is the side that's going to be facing out on the container, and so I just want plenty of plastic on it. And now you've got a bunch of edges on the back, so I just take one more round of tape, okay? Now that's got a good amount of tape on it, and I'm going to do the same thing on this, and then they go back. I just always keep things in baggies that are labeled, so I know what they are. It doesn't get away from me. And what happens if you, let's talk about supply chain. What happens if you run, obviously I need to finish this, but I'll do it later. What happens if you run out of paper towels? Well, then what? Okay, you can use cloth. What if you run out of cloth and paper bags or plastic bags? Well, guess what? You can use printer paper. And you can spray the back of the printer paper, or spray the whole printer paper. This happens to have printing on it, so I just wanted to show you something plain. And when you can fold it up, send it in a letter, and whenever it gets to the other end, then guess what? They can fold it. You're going to send them several sheets of treated paper. They can fold it and fold it again and make their set of patches, and do them however they need to do them. So don't let what you're accustomed to seeing in front of you slow you down if it isn't in front of you and you want to share with others. Now, what happens if we start running short on things like this? Use whatever you can find. And instead of using several, honestly, if it got to a situation where I still had vials, I still had mailers, I can do a whole plasma energy station in one vial. What I'm mostly dealing with is, you guys, belief system. That there has to be a lot of things, or they have to be this, or they have to be that. You could do one in this. So I want you to remember, size does not matter with the plasma energy, okay? And the vehicle that you carry it on does not matter. So please remember that, and please be creative. And then remember that you can use the plastic spray bottles and put some of your water in that and spray the surfaces. Now let's talk about virus relief. Okay, that is never-ending plasma energy virus relief, and you can share that with others. Do I worry about myself when I go out places? I'm not going to be careless, okay? But I drink this water all the time. It's in my coffee, it's in my drinking water, it's in the soup I make, it's in the laundry I wash, it's in spray bottles, and I just spray it all over me before I walk, you know, a little bit before I walk out the door. Obviously, I don't want to saturate myself, especially up here, because I'll walk in with little frozen a little frozen look, but just enough to put a light misting on yourself. And so just think of that. You're a walking container of plasma energy, and you're going to exude those energy fields out. Now, you don't have to announce that. You don't have to wear a sign around your neck, but maybe you can just be a source of good in that way when you're out and about, okay? So, never-ending plasma energy virus relief. It includes the energies of copper oxide, zinc oxide, shungite, silver, gold, amino acids, the elements that make up hemoglobin, CBD, C60. There are some energies in there that are also found in the energies of life force, in the energies of anxiety relief. There's B9 Korean salt, and that's discussed in a video that Dr. Paul and I did in the summer of 2019. There's the energies that are present in cold and flu relief. There are the energies that are present in lung support. There are the energies that are present in new tech frequency relief. Now, why new tech frequency relief? I thought that was for EMFs and Wi-Fi and cell phones and computers, TVs. Why would that be in here? There's some research that indicates that there may be some interaction with certain vaccines, certain energies such as 5G, and maybe what's coming off your cell phone. And so that's why we've added the new tech frequency GANs ingredients, many of those ingredients in new tech frequency relief to what's in the virus relief. And this month, you can get a plasma energy station and virus relief together. There's a special on it. You can save $107 on the combined total. And if some of you, most of the time, it's set to where when there's a special like that, there's not going to be an additional discount of the 15% some of you have enjoyed from different affiliates that you may know. But if you will write down on your order how you heard about me, and I don't mean just this week, I mean the first time you heard about us, I will still give credit to those people who are affiliates. So please be sure to include that in your information, because I try to always, even if you haven't included it, I try to go back and do some guesswork on it. Well, would this have come from this individual or that individual originally? So please do go ahead and make that small effort if you would, okay? And always remember that you can share your energies with family, with friends. You can mail it in the patches like I've shown. So don't let a lack of confidence or a lack of imagination hold you back. You know, just use your imagination, be confident with what you're doing, and go ahead and share this with others. It is meant to be shared. And in that sharing part, I want to share something I like to do. Forgot to have that paper with me. And this is something that Dr. Paul and I had put together a year or so ago. Our intention and invitation. All plasma energy that originated from Lynn and Paul's effort joins every other bit of plasma energy that originated from Lynn and Paul's efforts, wherever that plasma energy is in the world. On the land, in the waters of the rivers, the lakes, and the oceans, in the air, and in the clouds above. All that plasma energy brings Lynn and Paul's intentions everywhere on, above, around, and below the surface of planet Earth, that all living beings are filled with love, peace, joy, freedom, prosperity, well-being, and abundance. with the ethics and morality to support that love, peace, joy, freedom, prosperity, well-being, and abundance on all living beings on planet Earth, including the living being, our home, planet Earth. If you share a like intention, please join us in that intention. And I just want to close by saying, please love and care and share with one another. Be kind. Be sure to say, I love you to those around you that you do love. Look them in the eye, say it, and mean it. The one gift that Dr. Paul and I had is we could look each other in the eye every day after 54 years and say, I love you, and mean it. So that's a real gift, and it's as great a gift as you have as giving a smile to others, okay? So please do remember all that. And just one more thing, make sure you have groceries in the pantry, make sure you have gas in the tank, make sure you have a little cash on hand. And I hope you have a good weekend, and thank you so much for watching. You can watch many of our videos, read blogs, testimonials, frequently asked questions at plasmaenergysolution.com. And thanks again. And if you'd like to share this with others, please do so. And if you'd like to, give me a thumbs up. Thanks so much.